Hello and welcome back. We are here continuing as the Great Western France, aka the Great Baguette Centaur. Last episode, we finally managed to get on to laissez-faire. It's been a little bit interesting in 1.3. Passing laws has been a lot slower, and I had thought we had passed it, but we hadn't passed it, and so big yikes. Once we got on to laissez-faire, we of course just promptly tripled construction. When in doubt, just up the construction. Victoria 3 players want only one thing, and it is construction. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're in good shape here, and we're looking to kind of do the natural borders of France, as well as kind of the other little objectives we've made for ourselves. And to that end, we've also expanded out the construction queue a lot, or kind of following up. But you'll notice everything has a negative construction thing. And so while we have like a whole bunch of stuff, and the heuristic we've kind of used to inform all this, you'll see this is all steel mills in Brittany, is we are looking to put a lot of manufactories in places that have a lot of available labor, and also get those manufactories up to 51 for the max economies of scale throughput. But you see, all this lettering is red, 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 red. And this is because there's negative state construction efficiency. Well, why? Because someone is mad with us, the trade unions, and this work to rule negative modifier is particularly bad. So what we're going to do, just to eliminate this, we're going to pass a law that they like and hope they don't get too mad at us. And so we are going to try and go for rights of assembly. This will radicalize the Catholic Church and the landowners, but it will get us out from underneath the bonus of the negative bonus. If we just take a quick unpause, we will no longer be incurring this negative bonus, and the Catholic Church, or the landowners, were already mad at us anyways. The Catholic Church is now mad at us, which gives us negative education access, which of course is a negative modifier. We didn't grab Eastern Mali for the Mosque of Djenne, which is something we might do this episode to help with the education access, and so that's bad, but I mean, what can you do? Well, we could still suppress the Catholic Church and look to get them out of being powerful, and maybe this is something we do. Another thing I discovered from the deep, dark depths of Reddit was that apparently you cannot roll a humanist until after you have researched the feminism technology. And we really want a humanist, because a humanist will allow us, after passing human rights, which of course you have to pass, allows you to try and pass multiculturalism. And so this takes priority over everything, so we're going to go this, and then into civilizing mission, and then into malaria prevention. Now, we are kind of putting down a war. After we put this down, we're going to go after Baden, and after we go get Baden, we're going to go after Bavaria, look to clean up these borders, look to, kind of restore the border, where we are going to now have Eastern France as well, as opposed to just Western France over here, as Charlemagne intended, and as Napoleon was trying to actualize. We're still led by the son of Napoleon, Louis Bonaparte, and of course his father, the ghost of Napoleon past, is probably still alive and kicking, even though he's dead, as maybe he has finally fully died. I'm not seeing here in the agitator slot, so maybe he's dead now. That happens sometimes, daddy issues. He went for a pack of cigarettes and he never came back. Poor little Napoleon. So we went for the puppet play on Baden with the intention of trying to get them to back down, because often if you go for a puppet, they will back down as opposed to an annex, just to try and make things go along a little more smoothly. And Austria decided they want to try and be somebody, and they joined in on the war. And so we've assigned everyone to fronts. We're going to get ready to do a naval landing behind, and we put in the war goals. Now the war goals we put in on Austria are taking all of the coast here in Venetia, Istria, and Croatia, which will deny them access to the coast, with the exception that they are getting it through Bosnia, where they can kind of access through the Ottoman market, so it won't completely cut off their market, but this should give us a good kneecapping as well as a double frontage, because we'll be able to hit them from the north and the south, hit them from both sides. And also, we have, of course, raised the conscripts in China, which we aren't going to fight with. They're not going to do anything, they're just going to sit there, but what this will do is the negative war score we get from casualties is a proportion of the total soldiers you have active, and this creates a larger number of soldiers active for relatively cheap, and we're not paying them anything, which is why, of course, we have the conscription centers having the low-level PMs here. so that we can facilitate this kind of play, just in case, you know, we start to eat a lot of casualties in the mountains. But hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully this war will be relatively smooth. You know, there's just a couple seconds before anyone else can join, and so I'm imagining it's just going to be versus Austria, and we'll give them a good shellacking. Show them who's boss. They're trying to be somebody. They're trying to talk about it, or wait, they're trying to be about it, not talk about it. But we're gonna bend them over the knee, etc. Mostly etc. Everybody knows that the great tradition of the rights of assembly was born in Sokoto, and of course the French will follow Sokoto in their footsteps, and what works in Sokoto will work in France, damn it. We are going to have a sort of empire that has free speech and all these sorts of things, just like Sokoto does. Good stuff. Okay, so this event that we got while trying to pass rights of assembly is absolutely insane. In someone's library is a book, a new book of a vision of what rights of assembly might look like, affiliated with Industrialists, etc. Light reading, we get, you know, kind of some enactment chance, popularity, yada yada. Procure a copy, we pay some money, we get some extra enactment chance, and we get some intergroup pop attraction. Okay, all this sounds good. This is the insane one. French Empire gains bureaucratic trust permanently for 5% authority? Thank you very much. 5% free authority till the rest of the game? And, I mean, what, can you re-roll this event multiple times? Like, is this just a free authority? Juice, 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 juice? This is very strong, and it'll be interesting to see if there's more events like this, but, of course, the Baguette Centaur is the most authoritarian or authoritative. Also, it's weird that it's giving more authority, because this is a law that gives less authority, generally. But fiction should remain entertainment. We'll let them have it, and, you know, continue on with this war, which is progressing pretty nicely with our landings that are coming in. So we just unlocked feminism, so we're going to take a look here and see if we can find any agitators that in particular are going to be of the humanist tradition immediately following feminism. Now, maybe we need to wait a full tick, and in it, we can talk about, man, this German front right here has just been splitting and re-splitting in a way that's been required a ton of micromanagement. It's been very frustrating. They pushed into us because they got a zero front, because we did not have enough generals there to cover all the fronts when it split into like 5 fronts, so we've been moving generals over there, but we also have rights of assembly coming in, so let's just take a look and see if we got anyone with the humanist tradition, because we did wait for a Monday morning. Of course, we do have this secession movement. Let's just take a pause, because we don't want anything too crazy to happen. That's not a humanist, that's an authoritarian, and I don't see anyone that is humanist. That's a Luddite, always debated by the Luddites, and yeah, it doesn't look like we have anyone to kind of support. We are looking for someone who's going to support our transition to multiculturalism, and we're not seeing it yet, but maybe we have to wait a little bit after feminism has spawned to try and do this. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with the psychotic front splitting. They just need to split in a particular way that's a little bit uncomfortable for us. We might pile onto this front to enforce on Baden, but can they enforce us below zero? No, they can't without getting to Luxembourg or the capital, so maybe we let this drag out, because we do want to enforce on Austria. Enforcing on Austria is going to be the big one, and we of course will have to land the Cherokee on the other end of the world. We're definitely flirting with disaster a little bit here in regards to the budget, and one of the things that's really frustrating about this is we're doing it mainly because we need these troops to be, well, we probably didn't need this many troops to beat Austria, and Austria is kind of the last major big power, and so this war is kind of important, but it's, a large part of it is that we won't be able to stand these troops down once we're done with this until we also dust up, you know, the Cherokee uprising, which is kind of just generally a frustrating mechanic that you can't stand down troops once they've already been raised, even if the, you know, situation in your country has changed and the car is loud outside and all this stuff. And I hope that they change this at some point, but it just continues to be like a point where like native uprising kind of hoses your economy a little bit, because you can't stand troops down, especially when you scrape the barrel to do a lot of conscripts. So another little frustrating war here, thing here, we enforced on both Baden and Austria, but we couldn't enforce on Württemberg, whom we had, you know, spent maneuvers to try and annex, and the reason why is Baden became our subject when they became our puppet, and this prevents us from pushing into it, because even though there they're our puppet, we do not have access through them in terms of war because they were not our puppet at the start of the play. So we're just going to have to set terms to white peace and propose a peace deal, unfortunately. So we're not going to be getting that, but we did get this land here off of Austria, and so that will go a long way to kind of kneecapping them, and we are pushing in here, and so it shouldn't be too long until we can finish this war up and, you know, kind of get a good financial situation here. And we complete divided monarchists. And so this event chain is, you know, local to the French, and so let's see what it gives us. Goldfields depleted? That's not it. It is unfortunate, but that's not it. Do we get anything from that? We do have, let's see. We have restored autocracy movement. Cement the rightful claimant has been removed from the journal. Do we really just not get, like, any type of event, like, for this? That's interesting. So new journal entry, divided monarchists. New journal, cement the House Orleans. Is that it over here then? Acquire the land in Sinai, expand East Indies, Panama Isthmus, which we can survey now if we really wanted to. I mean, we are floating the that, but we're gonna need it, so we're not going to do that. But maybe I'm just missing something, but maybe it's bugged. But it seems like we kind of did something and we didn't get a thing for doing the thing, which, you know, is not ideal when you don't get a thing for doing the thing. So we went in on Bavaria, and Austria decided they haven't quite had enough, and so we're going to be giving them another spanking here. We have the war goal, return Bavarian Rhineland and puppet Bavaria, but then also on Austria we put conquer Slovenia, conquer Dalmatia, and Austrian war reps. Dalmatia is just absolutely an insane province because of this Krka Falls modifier, which increases electricity output, and this is just output, this isn't throughput, so this is big nice to get one of these in your country. There's only 3 available. One's here, the other's in Ontario, and the other's in New York. And then we're also taking Slovenia, which isn't necessarily like the best province in terms of like resources or anything like this, but looking at their market, this will cut off access through the rest of the market. Oh no, wait. Do they have access through Modena? Well, we can just go after Modena. I don't think... Whose market is that? Modena, state in Modena, Austrian market. So it looks like they will still have access through Modena, but the idea is when we deny all of their market access to outside territories, this is going to severely hamper them and allow us to kind of, you know, run away with this game, although I guess we've already done that to some extent. You know, let's take a look. We're honkin' big, and like it will kneecap their GDP significantly and make them a lot weaker, leaving kind of, I guess, Russia and Great Britain as the only powers to like kind of pretend like they can stop us from our baguette conquests. Alright, hold the phone here. I think I figured out what happened with the event earlier in this episode where I was like, this event didn't do anything, what the hell? It was the return of Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, back from the dead, back from his assassination. He is, of course, back here as both an agitator and philosophy king. Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, he's a historical character. This is the third Louis Napoleon Bonaparte we've seen, and he's decided his other son doesn't quite cut it. We're not going to have the heir apparent being an industrialist. No. We're going to have the big man himself, and then get out of line. That son wasn't good enough. He was ruling as emperor while Louis Napoleon first got assassinated, then chose voluntary exile, and now has returned from his assassination / voluntary exile to lead the French people. Truly, he is an unstoppable force. And so this is also just big, huge. We were just coming in here to, of course, check. Let's see. I guess we might have to exile one of these guys, or exile the agitators. Okay, we could take a look, but we came in here to check and see if there was anyone who was humanitarian, because this is what's important, or it was what was important, before we got Big Chad back himself. Yeah, this is absolutely unhinged. This is the third one. He's been exiled. He's been killed. You can't stop this Napoleon. You could stop the other one. You just sent him to exile. But this one comes back from the death. So the agitator, Frederick Vinoy, is a little busy agitating here, and it looks like he's stirring up an absolutely huge rebellion. It's going to get 8% progress a week. Now, I haven't messed around, and if we zoom out, you could see this is not one we can try and fight, and I haven't messed around with it too much to see if you can exile these guys to get rid of this, so we'll just take a crack at this and hope it doesn't absolutely wreck everything. They're not currently, the trade unions are not currently insurrectionary, but they will be into this revolution, but this is kind of led by this, or is it led by a different guy? Let's actually take a look. So this guy is leading this revolution, I guess, and we can exile him, the anarchist, who wants anarchy things. I think we kind of wanted him to be around because we want to go commie eventually, but we do not want to go national militia, you know, kind of with our current setup. So we're going to see if we can exile this dissident. It's going to radicalize, it's going to send someone in exile. We got to exile someone to make room for the humanist. I mean, now that we got Big Daddy back, and so this will create some radicals, and he's sent into exile. And he's removed from France, so let's see if he keeps agitating here, or if this revolution keeps a brewing. Well, now it's going to brew faster. Well, that's fantastic. So, I guess we got what we deserve. And we get wars kind of breaking out, so hopefully we can try and manage all this. This looks actually a little bit on the grim side. We might have to try and... we might have to pass, you know, the militia. We'll see. And we have a bit of an accord here with a peace deal that they will accept that we are big liking, because it's big nice. And we get an achievement here. We get Hegemon, or Hexagon no more, I suppose, whatever that means. Let's take a look. Oh man, everything popped up all at once. That was wild. Okay, let's take a look. Oop. Okay, so that is our big nice war. Now, let's see the achievement we got. Let's see, I think it was said Hexagon no more. What was that? Hexagon no more, complete the natural borders of France. Okay, journal entry, perfect. And then we will have the natural borders of France. We're gonna take a quick screen of that. No, we don't want Faro Bank in our screenshot. Terrible. And so this is part of the unique flavor in patch 1.3. France now extending the far corners of the Rhines and the Alps. We have achieved what champions have deemed our natural borders. I personally think they're a little bit, you know, too... I mean, this is certainly Western France, right? Eastern France is still over here, although we're working on all that. And so we will say they must learn to be French. Okay, that makes sense. Glory to the heroes of France. We get interest group approval, and we are the liberators of Gaul. Wallonian becomes a primary culture, Breton becomes a primary culture, Occitan becomes a primary culture, and Franco-Provençal becomes a primary culture. This seems tremendous, right? No? Does this make, I guess the thing to look at will this, make French not our primary pop? If it changes French away from being our primary pop, that would be big sad. Although I'm sure French will still be accepted, so why don't we click the Liberators of Gaul? And we have French, Wallonian, Breton, Occitania, Franco-Provincial. That is a bit of a wild one. That is a lot. So we'll just screen grab that real quick. And so, let's take a look through the Cultures tab. So all of this is now accepted, or very well accepted, which is, or let's see, Wallonian is there, Breton is there, Occitan is there, Franco-Provençal, and so maybe you can even go something that's a little bit more discriminatory. I don't think we're going to do that. We don't even discriminate against the dead here in France, because in this episode, we have already seen the return of Louis Napoleon Bonaparte after he was assassinated, which makes this, I think, the world's first necrocracy. That's right, it is not an autocracy, it is not a monarchy, it is not a technocracy, it is a necrocracy. It is owned by the dead and ruled by the dead. The dead shall keep it. And, oh, we got a humanitarian too! This is wild! he approves of even the dead. Not even the dead are discriminated here. So this has been a fun episode, but we're going to conclude it here. We have the Necrocracy, we have the stomping out of Austria, and we finally got the humanitarian. And so that'll be big, nice. And so hopefully, we'll be able to pass multiculturalism in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And other than that, have a good day. Bonus, I was looking at the enforced war goals afterwards and I was like, hey, didn't we put in the war goal to take Slavonia? That way they would be cut off when it was over. And, you know, I auto-loaded. I was like, maybe I just didn't click on all the other things. It was a very rookie mistake. See, this is Slavonia, which we were trying to take, and we accidentally went for Slovenia. Terrible. And I think I know the reason why we made this mistake. Because the pure undead hatred is seething from our Bonapartean eyes. The man who was sent into exile after his own death, voluntary exile after his own death, returned, and he just can't see quite right, needs some glasses, can't tell the difference between Slavonia and Slovenia. Terrible.